Okay, so it's saying I'm live. So if you can see me and hear me, press the like button, the love heart button, comment below, just say hello, just so I know that you're seeing me, you're hearing me. I'm just gonna check. So at the moment I can't see it. Okay, yes, okay, there we are, awesome. So yeah, if you're here, if you're watching this live, I'm super excited. I've got a ton of value for you today. Now, this may look a little bit similar to what you've seen before. I can assure you this is completely different. So I've now been working with the coaches I've been working with approximately about 8 weeks. I think it is now. So with that information, with what I've learned in less than 2 months and the results I'm seeing, I'm now able to show you a lot more. I'm now able to give you even more value than the last presentation I did like this. So as I said before, stop dicking around with funnels and content, especially the posting, the content part. I'm going to walk you through the SFD method. So after these kind of 2 months, I've now really started to refine things. I'm going to show you how it's possible to get from 0, 1K, 2K, 5K to that 10K mark, to that 15K mark. Genuinely, when you implement this stuff, it's completely possible to scale to whatever you want. Now, obviously, there's different steps in the process to get to those different areas, and we won't be able to cover all of that today. But when you implement all of this stuff, it's completely possible. So if you stick around today, here's what you're going to discover. All right. By the way, if you're super excited, if you're already thinking like this is amazing, this is exactly what I'm looking for, start pressing that like button, start pressing the love heart button. So if you stick around today, you're going to discover the one thing that no one teaches. Like I've done 6 programs, I think about 6 programs. I spent over 25K on like coaching programs, business mentorship in the last 2 years. And not one of the programs have taught one of these things that I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you a predictable system, okay, so that you've got that stress-free business that consistently pays the bills for you. How it's possible to make more than 20 grand within 90 days, which is what I did. I actually generated 22 grand in the first 90 days from zero, with 0 online presence. It's completely possible to do that. And how to have that 20 grand a month as your consistent revenue whilst only posting 3 to 5 times a week. Literally, my business made 30 grand a month consistently, and I was only posting 3 to 5 pieces of content every week. And I'm going to show you how to build a business so that you can take time off, so that you can enjoy your hobbies, so you don't have to work weekends, all of those great things. So if you are excited, if any of this stuff applies to you, like if any of those points are what you're after, are you after something that's going to help you banish self-doubt? Are you after something that's going to help you get clarity? Are you looking for a more predictable business? If any of these apply to you, just comment with a 1 in the comments below. And in fact, I'd love to know, let me know, what is it specifically that is important to you? Or is it any of these, or is it something else? So comment below with what is important for you right now. Okay, so here's why most businesses are not breaking that 5K barrier or the 10K per month barrier consistently. You know, I've seen a lot of people that have, you know, broken 5K once or twice, or they've done, you know, they've hit 10K once or twice, but they're on this forever kind of entrepreneurial roller coaster where they'll have a good month and then things will die down, and a good month. It's not consistent. Now, typically it's because they have one or more of these problems. Now, I'm going to go into depth in these 3. I'm not going to tell you what they are, and they're completely different to what I talked about last year. So, let me know in the comments what you think your one problem is right now. Why do you think your business is not at that next threshold? Why do you think it's not at the 5K yet, or the 10K, or the 15, or the 20K? Let me know in the comments what you think the one thing is that's really going to help you get to that next level. And then by the end of this today, I'm going to see if that changes, if there's actually, if you've learned anything, and if there's something different. So look, what I'm going to walk you through is I'm going to show you how you can get 5, 10, up to 20 high paying clients, so up to £2,000 per client, month after month. without having to post content every day. In fact, you can literally post content 3 to 5 times a week, without having to work weekends, without having to give up your life. Because essentially that's what I'm currently doing. I only work 6 hours during the day because I take my daughter to school, I pick her up from school, I bath my kids every night, I'm with them at bedtime, I have dinner with everyone, I make dinner, and I don't work any weekends, and I don't work a Friday evening. So I built the business around my life and what I want. So when you're building a business, that's what you need to think about is, can you make it work around your life? Are there non-negotiables? And make sure you stick to those. So why is it that you want a business that makes more money? What are your non-negotiables? Let me know in the comments. What is it that you want out of it? Now the good news is you're here. So if you're watching this today, you've made the first step. Okay, this is going to be a fantastic presentation where I'm going to show you some steps that are really going to help you. And here's a couple of things that I've learned that I never needed. So I bought a website, I paid a web developer, I think I paid nearly $2,000, and I've never used it. So you don't need a website. You definitely don't need an online presence. So when I first started, I had like a couple of hundred followers, I had 0 online clients, I had nothing. And I still, to this day, you're going to find out later, I still don't have a massive online presence. I didn't have a program. The first time that I made sales, I sold 6 people £1,000 each, so I made £6,000. I didn't have a program, so I pre-sold them. So you don't need to already have a program. I used to think that I needed qualifications, so I did my CrossFit level 2, I did my BTM Practical Academy, but actually when I sold those 6 people, I hadn't finished the BTM Practical Academy. I wasn't actually a qualified nutritionist. And we've got a couple of clients at the moment, Karen, Zoe, they're still completing their qualifications. There are people that I'm working with at the moment that are making sales up to £1,200, £1,500, and they're not fully qualified yet. However, they've got results for people, they know how to get results, and they're passionate about helping people. And that's what's really, really important. If you think about it, I could talk about this all day, by the way. For you to be an expert, you only need to know a little bit more than the people you're helping. You need to be a little bit ahead. Like, think about, Karen in the office. She wants to lose 20 pounds. She'll typically ask her friend Susan if Susan's lost 10 pounds on the latest fad diet. So if they're going to go to their friends and people that have got some results on some fad diet, surely someone with a bit more knowledge, they're definitely going to see as an expert and authority. So you don't need more and more qualifications. I also thought when I first started I needed loads of fancy tech. And actually I've got friends who run a business which makes 30 to 60 grand a month, and all they use is Google Docs. Like, you can really have a lean, streamlined business. You don't need loads of fancy tech. You don't need a website. You don't need any of that stuff. And one thing you definitely don't need to do, and my barber highlighted this to me the other day, is you don't need to cold DM strangers. Like, I was sat in the barber chair, and he actually, while he was cutting my hair, he had this PT like just message him saying, "Hey bro." You can imagine his response. He was like, "Who is this guy?" And I was like, "Watch, he's going to try and get you onto his program." And he was like, "I don't even know who he is. Who's he calling bro?" You don't need to do that. You don't need to follow any of those approaches. And it's just weird. So today what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you completely different approaches that don't require any of that stuff. And how do I know? So apart from being, a bowl licker who loves chocolate cake, a family man, I've got 2 kids, a wife. As I said, I've built my business around like my family because that's important to me. I'm someone that's been in your shoes. Like, I would say that most people in this group, I've been where you are at some point. So I started from zero. I was a full-time teacher for about 2 years. For about 11 years. I've been doing this about 2 years. And I went from that with 0 online presence. I worked with a few people for free or next to nothing to get, just because I didn't know what I was doing. And I went from that to, within the first month, making 6 grand. Within the first 90 days, making 22 grand. Within 18 months, consistently hitting 30k months. You can see here, these screenshots on the pictures, they are current pictures. So my Instagram, I've got less than 1,000 followers. Some of my content, some of my posts on my personal pages, I get like, you can see that Ben, who liked that picture on the right hand side on Facebook, Ben's actually one of my clients, like as in a coach, not a menopause or weight loss client. He's the only person that liked that, and probably out of those 2 shares, one was probably my mum. So you can see that this is recent. This is from someone who's, you know, making 10, 20, 30 grand a month consistently. You don't need to have a big online presence. And if you think about it realistically, if you had 1,000 clients giving you £1,000, okay, that's £1 million revenue. All right. You don't need tens of thousands of people. You don't need loads and loads of likes. Okay, likes don't pay the bills, and they're not always engaged. Like, I've got a friend who's in the business, got 20,000 followers, gets knowing about the same engagement as me, and is not making as much money within his business. There's other things that are far more important. By the way, because I've been rabbiting on for so long, is this all helpful so far? Okay, is showing you all of this stuff and giving you some insights, is this all helpful? So let me know if it's helpful in the comments. Press the like button, press the love heart button as well, just so I can see when it skips on. So as you can see, I put this here just as a bit of proof, because I know that a lot of people will say, oh, you know, that's like, he's talking nonsense, that's not true. So this is this year. Actually, the business turned over well over 200 grand this year, and that's with like taking lots of breaks, taking some time out, lots of different things that have happened this year. So I'm going to move on past that. It's just to show people, look, I'm not full of fluff, like I'm actually doing this stuff. So I want you to imagine, you know, only posting content 3 or 4 times a week, having a clear strategy that helps you to get clients on a daily basis or weekly basis. So you don't have to worry about, you know, Christmas again, putting Christmas on the credit card, or, you know, not being able to afford presents. I've been there. I literally was, when I first joined my first mentor, my business was running out of money, like, so I started in the face-to-face world, and business was running out of money, and I was like, Jesus, I'm not going to be able to afford Christmas. And then things changed when I invested in my business. I invested in, you know, some mentorship to take me to that, you know, to make sure I had that consistency. So imagine, you know, not having to constantly be glued to your phone, or, you know, having to work weekends, building your business around you. It's completely possible. Never having to sit at a blank screen trying to think of what to write, what content to put together, and actually producing content and producing stuff that connects with your audience, generates conversations, and pre-sells people, so that when they eventually jump on a call with you, they're already ready. They want to work with you. They even thank you for signing up to the program, for, you know, paying £1,000, £1,500, £2,000 to work with you. That's exactly what's possible, and I'm going to walk you through how today. So as I said, this is completely different to the last time I spoke in detail to what I did last year. I'm going to go through this method. So this is exactly how. By the way, make sure you do engage with this. So if you're watching this on replay, if you're watching this live, it's awesome if you engage. One's going to show you really listening, because it's going to mean you're not distracted by things in the background. You're going to take more from this. You're going to learn more from this. So comment, ask questions all the way throughout, you know, engage with it. So I'm going to introduce you to the SFD method. I'm going to walk you through what that means, what that stands for, how it's different, and how it can help you, or how you can implement some of these strategies to take your business to the next level. So if you're excited, throw me an SFD method in the comments. So I'm going to walk you through the 3 pillars of this. So the first pillar is strategic content. The S stands for strategic content. That's easy for me to say. The second pillar is called the FEC sales system. Okay, FEC stands for flexible emotive communication. I'm going to walk you through that today as well. And then the last bit, which I've talked about before, is data-driven growth. Okay, data is so important for so many reasons, and a lot of business mentors, coaches out there don't even talk about this stuff, don't share this with their clients. Typically, actually, you've got to pay for their extended program and pay even more money to get hold of this kind of stuff. So I'm going to be going through all of this, and I'm going to be helping you to get some understanding here to take your business forwards, so you can break that 5K, that 10K. So here's one of the problems that I see. So we're going to talk about strategic content. One of the problems I see is that there's a lot of online gurus out there telling you that you need to be doing reels, you need to be doing TikTok, you need to be posting 3 times a day, and because of that, and I used to feel that way, and I used to be, I've just got to get myself out there, I've just got to post content, and I'd write a blog that no one read, I would try and post 2-3 times every single day, I'd try and do videos, lives, I'd be literally trying to think up content constantly. Now, in a minute, you're going to see why this is a problem and not actually the solution. And problem number 2, get to it in a minute, is when people do post content and they're putting out tips, strategies, here's my like best recipes, here's my 5 best tips for motivation, and they're constantly posting as an authority. Now, being an authority is super important, and I'm not saying don't do this stuff, okay? And I'm not saying don't post content. But you don't need to be posting 3 times a day. You don't need to be on TikTok and doing reels, and you don't need to be doing that constantly. Okay, you don't have to be exhausted and try and think up, sitting at a blank screen thinking up ideas. And yes, you want to show you're an authority. You want to show your knowledge or expertise, show you can help. But if you're only posting that type of content, that's a problem, and you're going to see in a minute why. So first of all, does any of this resonate with you? So do you just constantly just try to put content out there because you feel like you've got to get out there and get people to see you, or do you just post like tips and authority stuff showing that you can help people? If so, just to give you an analogy, by the way, it's no judgment at all, because that's exactly what I used to do, but there's a better way. And to give you an analogy, just putting content out there and just showing your authority is a bit like if you were working as a PT in the gym. Okay, it's a bit like you put your stuff up on the notice board, you put leaflets around, but you don't go and speak to people. You're hoping that people see your content, they see your leaflet, they see whatever you've put out there, and then they come and speak to you. It's a bit like standing in your shop talking about what you do and everyone being outside. Okay, if that just makes sense, let me know in the comments. Hopefully that's making sense and resonating with you. So there's a better way, and a lot of people are starting to cotton on with this, and this is kind of like the next step, but then there's another step after this which I'm going to talk about today. So be unapologetically you. I think I've talked about this before. This will repel people that don't resonate with you. So you'll start to get rid of people that don't want to work with you, that are not like you, so that then you're only working with people that are like you, have the same values and beliefs. So this is going to help you appeal certain people and repel certain people. Now, a lot of people are starting to do this, which is great, but there's more to it than this. And one of the other things I've talked about before, which is super important, is the market research, is intimately knowing your audience, talking about their deepest, darkest pains, their deepest, darkest desires, all of that kind of stuff. Now, you can only get that by having conversations with people. So think about the online world similar to how you would in the real world. Try and generate conversations, find out about people, genuinely be interested and curious. Now, all of this stuff is great, and a lot of people already know this stuff. They know how to develop their avatar, who their niche is, how to work all of that stuff out. But there's some more important stuff than this. When you do this is how you only have to post content 3 to 5 times a week and make sales. So what you need to think about first of all is your content. When you put content out there, okay, yes, you need to have authority content, but you also need to have connection content. But more importantly, your content needs to do these 5 things. So let me know in the comments below, put 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. At the moment, does your content do any of these? Okay, and if so, how many? Does it do 1 of them? Does it do 2 of them? Does it 3 of them? Does it 4? Do you do all 5 of these? Okay, and what do you think is your biggest problem with your content? I might be able to help you. I might be able to share some insight on that. So comment below, let me know how many of these you're currently doing and which of these is the biggest problem for you. Which are you not doing? Okay, so your content first of all needs to do that. Now, I've developed a unique 3-step process. 1, to unearth all this information. Okay, so that you've got like a document with internal content, and you can do it in less than 2 weeks. So it's almost like your real deep market research. And then I literally have a proven weekly schedule that means you can achieve all of those 5 things with 3 to 5 pieces of content every single week. So think about what content shows your prospect, your ideal avatar, that you can help them. What content is going to help you to generate conversations? What are your prospects' potential objections? How can you change those? And if you look in this group, there's lots of examples like that. So I'll give you an example of last week I wrote a post about my daughter writing the letter P the wrong way around. And rather than ask her questions to make her think for herself and correct herself, we ended up having an argument. I was just like, no, that's wrong. You write a P the right way around. I didn't shout at her like that. I was just like, no, P's this way around. And she just ended up getting really upset and shouting at me. And this relates to business in that you can't tell people what to do. Okay, you can't say do this, don't do that, because then that causes friction. Instead, by sharing a story about what I've learned and how it's helped me, you then have a choice to make. You go, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to try that. But if I'm telling people, there's more resistance when you're telling people. Now, you can use this example and think about what's going on in your life. What stories can you share to help you connect with your audience, to help them get to know you, that they're going to resonate with, but also is going to give them a valuable story that might help them on their journey. Okay, so there's one example. But the biggest tip is to do with generating conversations. Okay, if you want to make sales, if you want to grow a business, you need to generate conversations. And again, I'm going to relate this to the real world. Like, the online world is no different from the real world, apart from you're sat behind a screen. If you worked as a face-to-face PT in a gym, what would you do to make sales? Would you just post on the notice board? Would you just put leaflets around the place? No, what would you do? Comment below, let me know. What would you do to generate clients? The likelihood is you'd go around and talk to people. So this is exactly what you want to do in the online world. You want to find ways to generate conversations, and then from those conversations find out where they're at, where they want to be, and do they want help with that? And can you help them? Genuinely is that simple. Okay, it might not seem it, but it's genuinely that simple. The online world is the same as the real world. And when you do this, okay, you can put out content and put out posts where you get hundreds of people raise their hands. So this was back in November, where I put out a low ticket offer where I did no DMing, no private messaging, I did no sales calls, and we got like nearly 200 people, well, in fact, we got over 200 people raise their hands. Because I'd built those relationships, I'd had those conversations, because I'd done all of those 5 things with my content leading up to this. And then eventually, this is what happens. So this is 3 months this year, from April to July, where the business turned over £75,000. And this is what can happen. And literally, I was only posting 3 to 4 pieces of content a week. That's it. I was going live once a week on my Facebook, nowhere else. I wasn't doing stories, I wasn't doing reels, I wasn't doing TikTok. And now we've got clients that are taking this all on board and implementing. So this person on the left is Karen. She's a teacher, so she works as a teacher 4 days a week. Not got a lot of time. She's managed to utilize some of this, and she got 8 calls booked in and made 2 sales at the beginning of January. This was all within the first week or 2 of January. And then we've got, you might not be able to see that clearly. In fact, I'm kind of squinting, so apologies for that. So we've got on the right hand side Zoe, who again, she made 2 sales as well at £1,200, incredibly, the first week of January. She's brand new to online coaching, and she's got real clarity and is really resonating with her audience now. And because she's using like content that has a mixture of all of those things, she's now able to have more conversations. People are connecting with her, resonating with her, and that's helping her to book those calls. So you can see that this is now proven. It's starting to work for other people. It's not just me. So now we're going to go into the flexible emotive communication sales system. Bit of a mouthful. hence their FEC sales system. So most people out there, most programs in there, they think that sales is all about being pushy or sleazy, and actually it's not. Sales is actually coaching. Online coaches are potentially the best salespeople, because if you do it right and you do it well, it can be a good process for everyone, where essentially you're just asking questions and you're coaching people into making the sale. Now, I've been in programs where like they've taught some horrendous stuff, like, you know, to use things on a call like, well, if you had to find 20 grand for a winning lottery ticket, you'd find it, wouldn't you? So why wouldn't you find X amount to work with me? Like, genuinely some really horrendous stuff. And I know Tony, who I'm currently working with, has been through similar experiences. Now, what you've currently got out there at the moment is you've got programs and business coaching that will teach you one way. So they'll show you how to dig into the pain. Okay, so how to dig into someone's pain to get emotional buy-in so you can like make the sale. And you now have the other side of the coin. So I've only seen one person do this at the moment, but I'm sure there's going to be more. You've got mentors, coaches, even sales coaches that are now showing how to do it without digging into the pain at all. So basically what they're doing is they're future pacing on the call. So they're helping to build this desire, like what is it they want, and getting people to paint this like vivid picture. So there's no pain, they're not really digging into the pain, they're selling based on the desires and wants. Now, obviously, that would be ideal. Okay, it'd be ideal if we do that, because then we don't have to, you know, pick out on what's hurting people, what's upsetting people. But what about if you knew how to do both? And actually, I'm going to say that this is absolutely vital. So when you wanting to sell £1,000 plus, £2,000, you can't just send them the link to your website. You can't just send them the link to pay. People need to trust you. They need to have that relationship, that bond with you, which means you're probably going to need consultations. But consultations are going to be part of your process anyway, because you're going to need to get to know them to see whether you can help them. Now, on that consultation, obviously we want to, you know, make it a nice experience for you, for them, and this is what the FEC sales system does. This is why it's called flexible emotive communication. And the first point is, there's a reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Okay? If this is done correctly, if you follow this system and this approach, 1, you can close up to 80% of your calls at £1,500, £1,800. Okay? But 2, it's going to be a much nicer approach. So all you should be doing on your call is asking questions, listening very carefully, and probing so that you seek to understand, so that you understand what it is that they want, what it is that they need, and if you can help them, because you won't be able to help everyone, or not everyone's going to be a good fit. But you only know that by listening carefully, and people will give you their objections. They will give you everything before the end of the call if you listen carefully. And what you also want to be listening for, and this is where the flexible part comes in, is are they someone that's focusing on their pain and getting away from the situation they're unhappy with, or are they someone who's focusing on their desires, their dreams? If you do this properly, you'll recognize what type of buyer someone is, and you'll be able to reflect that then with the questions you use, and you're going to be more effective on sales. And this is what I don't see many people doing right now. All right, and this is going to make you even more effective. Now, if you improve your sales, let's say you're selling 50%, so 5 in 10 at £1,000 a month, okay, or £1,000 for the program, and you're doing this every month, that's £5,000 a month. If you just improve your sales by 10% without doing anything else in your business, you're now making £6,000 a month without doing any extra work, just by literally working on this. Now, one thing I want you to take away from this as well is someone will only sign up to work with you if they believe, 1, you can help them, and this is, you know, help them get away from their pain or get towards their desire, and they don't believe they can do it on their own. So when you're on a call, if you haven't got that, if you don't know for definite that the person on the other end of the line knows you can help, and they still have an inkling that they can do it themselves, then you're probably not going to be able to close that. And you need to ask the right questions to figure out whether actually they are someone that's going to sign up or not. Now, here's August, where I made 24 sales at £1,500 or more and had a 60% close rate. Now, my close rate's been as high as 80%, but now I have clients that are doing it. So we've got Zoe on the right, her first 3 calls that she's ever had, ever. Not like, this isn't like she's been practicing for years and years and years. The first 3 calls that she's ever had, she sold 2 of them at £1,200. We've got Karen that sold 2 people at £900. She's never ever done a high ticket sale before in her life. We've got Tony, who's got experience in this industry, who made 4 out of 6 sales within 2 weeks. Well, I think within 3 weeks of us working together, all at £1,500. So you can see the massive close rate. So these are people like Tony is obviously experienced, but Karen, Zoe, the others are not experienced in this, but they've really taken on board really simple instructions and effectively used them to listen carefully, ask the right questions, and it's made it so much easier for them to sell their program, but more importantly, it's made it a much nicer process for both parties. So I've been rabbiting loads. Let me know in the comments, is this helpful? Okay, and remember, as I said, ask questions throughout. Like, I'm here to help. I can share some insight, and we're going to get into the last pillar. So press the like button, press the love heart button if this is all helpful, if this is good, if you're getting lots of value from this. The aim of this is to give you a ton of value, hopefully show you, how you can get to 5k, 10k, 15k, whatever it is that your goal is. Now, I've gone through this before. I'm going to go through this again. Data is so important, and this is what's missing from a lot of businesses. This is what takes your business from being a hobby to an actual business. So organic is dead, or it's dying. Facebook, Instagram, they are strangling reach, they're strangling engagement. In fact, one of the strategy that people teach for gaining a new audience and making sales is to add friends. So just add random strangers as friends, and anyone that accepts, then message them. And unfortunately, Facebook is even strangling this now. Like, after 20, 30 friend requests or 20, 30 comments or messages, you can have your ad account restricted for days. Another strategy that's being taught as an organic strategy is going into Facebook groups. But if you start looking for Facebook groups and going into Facebook groups, what you'll notice is that there's lots of other people trying to do this, and groups are getting, people are recognizing this. Markets mature, okay? People become more sophisticated. They see these strategies, these tips, and they become wise to it. And then they put up their defenses. So you'll see that people are getting kicked out of groups, or they're not getting the same efficiency with these. So organic is getting harder and harder. Okay, and it's dying. It's going to be much harder. So if you're relying on organic strategies to grow your business, you may struggle to get past 5, 10k consistently, or you'll find that you'll have months that are good, months that are not so good. Hey Nikos, how's it going? Are you enjoying it, mate? I see you've just jumped on. Got any questions? Let me know in the comments, mate. If I can help in any way, press that love heart button if you're enjoying it so far. Now, the reason I say that organic is dying, or it's becoming harder, or it's not the best approach, is because actually I have friends that was their main purpose. So Ryan Smith, Hayden Rolfe, they're the one guys. Ryan blew up during the pandemic. So you imagine everyone's on lockdown. Ryan starts doing reels and TikToks, and his Instagram account exploded. It went from a couple of thousand to 50,000 overnight. So he had all of this influx of people, and their business boomed. Okay, they were making anything between 30 and 60k. But the problem with this was that now they're under the algorithm, where they can have great months, and then all of a sudden the algorithm restricts their reach, and it impacts their finances. It impacts their business. So it's not, even if you're a massive account, it's not a consistent model to follow. And they're now actually looking at building methods that use advertising, because that is consistent. Pre-2018, even pre-2019, it was completely possible. People like James Smith, within a year, were blowing up. And now that they're big accounts, they've got massive reach, they've got massive audiences. It's so much harder now than it was 2-3 years ago. So obviously, once you've nailed pillar 1 and pillar 2, once you've got that dialed in, you know you've got a system that works, that's like predictable, you can then use ads to scale. Okay, comment ads if this is all making sense. All right, just so I know that this is all making sense right now. And what you're looking for is a return on your ad spend. So in 2020, when I first started using ads, I averaged 10 times ROAS, which basically means that for every pound I put on ads in 2020, I got £10 back. Every single pound that went in. This year, 2021, last year, the worst return that I ever had in any month was 4 times. So imagine going up to a machine and saying, here's £1, and every time you chuck £1 in, you get £4 back. Who wouldn't want that? Like, comment me if you would be happy with a 4 times return on your money. And what would you do? Let me know in the comments below. What would you do if every time you had a machine at your house, on your computer, every time you put £1 in, it gives you £4 back? What would you do? Comment below, let me know. So as you can see, once you've dialed in pillar 1, pillar 2, and you have the data, so this is my data here. So January, February, I had no ad account. I'd lost my ad account. So as I said to you at the beginning of this, I've been in your shoes. I've been through pretty much most situations that an online coach can go through. I've had ad accounts disabled. I've had my business managers disabled, restricted. I've lost ad account. I've lost all sorts. I've gone through, feast and famine. I've paid more than 25 grand in mentorship and business coaching. So I've seen lots of different models, lots of things that are out there. But what I did in January, February without an ad account is I started using approach that I'm now showing my coaches, and it was working. So you can see here the percentage of people that joined my group that then became clients was really high. And because of that, I knew that I just needed more traffic. I just needed more people to get to the goals that I wanted to. So March, at the end of March, I had an ad account only for a week, and you can see the conversion dipped, but it was enough. I knew that I only needed 2%. All right, I only needed 2 in every 100 to buy to make this a success. And guess what? Look how consistent that is. Every single month, 2% bought, month after month, and this has pretty much been the whole year. How good would it feel to have such a predictable and consistent business? And this with ads. So March, April, May, June, started to run ads. So I knew whatever I put in, I was going to get 2% of people join my group that would sign up and become a high paying client. And when you have that kind of consistency, that kind of predictability, you no longer have doubt, you no longer worry. Okay, where's my next client come from? But what I want you to also be aware of is data is so important, not just about ads. It can help you to figure out where your bottleneck is. So if you're not tracking every step of your business, or you don't know the steps of your business, so what does a client do to go from cold, like first meeting you, to becoming a client? What are the stages? What are the steps? How do you track those? What numbers do you take? If you have those numbers, you're going to be able to then identify where the weaknesses are in your business. And with the right guidance, you can then really hone in on that, improve those areas, and that's going to obviously help your business go forwards. So just let me know in the comments, do you currently track your data? What data do you track? Oh, my camera's gone. Okay, apologies guys. It's saying that the camera's got too hot, which is a nightmare. So I'm going to keep on talking. You can hear me, hopefully. Let me know you can still hear me, okay? Hopefully it should warm up. Anyway, using data, I'm nearly finished, okay? I'm nearly there anyway. Using data, you can help you identify where the bottlenecks are in your business and the steps you need to go forwards. All right? And then, do you know how to fix it? So if you are tracking your data, so let me know in the comments if you are tracking your data, what data you track. Again, I might be able to share some insight that will help you on that. And then the next step is knowing how to fix it. All right, so if you know that at the moment sales calls, you're only converting 50%, 40%, you know that's the problem. Do you know how to fix it? Hopefully today I've given you some value that you can then go away and that's going to help you. But essentially, once you implement all of these 3 pillars, you only have to post content 3-4 times a week to get people raising their hands, to pre-handle their objections, to increase your close rate, so that you can identify your bottlenecks and you can really make sure that you focus your energy on the right parts of your business. And you'll have a business built around you, your lifestyle, so you're not having to constantly be on your phone. You don't have to work weekends, and you're hitting those 5, 10, 15, 10K marks. Now, I'm literally finishing up now, so it's probably not a bad thing that my camera's gone. If at any point you watch this and you want someone to take you step by step through these pillars, through my program, okay, I'll personally take you through all of this stuff and everything else I've learned from the 25K, probably even more, on courses, whilst actually implementing it. And obviously, if you comment interested, there's no guarantee we're going to work together. What we'll do is we'll have a chat to make sure that I can help you, to make sure that actually because at the moment working one-to-one, that we can work together. But if we do work together, you get plug and play resources from an actual business that's used them, that's actually worked, frameworks, templates. Literally, my clients are getting everything from a business that's working, a business that's turning over at least 30K a month. So you get access to all of that stuff. Now, as I said, if you comment interested, that doesn't mean you've signed up. It doesn't mean that. It's just the first step in the process. There's no pressure. We'll literally just have a chat, see where your business is at, where you want it to be, and we'll see if it makes sense. And if it doesn't, as I said, I've done lots and lots of programs, lots and lots of coaching programs. I'll definitely, whatever happens, I'll be able to